Straight all day.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? That's the go-getter energy that moves anyone, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today I'm going to share with you a 5-step system that I use to build my business and my brand. Now, before I get into that, I tell you all that I have a daily motivation text message that I send out for free to everyone who's in my text community. This message is, here's 3 things I'll guarantee you about this message. It's going to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. And even as a bonus, it's going to challenge you to think sometimes. Sometimes I'll give you something that maybe you already understand and agree with. Other times I'm going to give you some things that you may not quite understand and you may not even agree with, but it's going to challenge you. That message is free every day to your phone. All you got to do is text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. So you got your phone with you right now. So just text me at that number right now. And every time I send out the daily motivation text, you'll get it straight to your phone starting tomorrow morning. And the other thing is for you to go to workonyourgame.net. Those of you who are business minded, I know not everybody is, but those of you who are business minded and you're serious about increasing your income in business and you want to do it in a strategic, systematic way, in a way that you can you know exactly what you're inputting, your processes are duplicatable, meaning you can do them over and over and over again, and you can start to predict your results. If you want to do it that way, now if you want to do it randomly, then I can't help you, but if you want to do it that way, go to workonyourgame.net. The training is free. It's about 45 minutes long, so block off the time and watch that training. And at the end of it, if you are so inclined, I will tell you how you can schedule a time to get on a call with me and we can talk about implementing all of that stuff specifically for your business. Now, let's talk about what I told you I'm going to talk about here today, which is the 5-step system that I use to build my business and to build my brand, and I still use to this very day. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with where I come from background, my background is in professional sports. I was playing basketball professionally starting in 2005. I also started putting videos on this new website called YouTube, and that's where people really start to kind of know me from watching the videos on YouTube. I started creating and selling my own programs and products in around 2009, 2010. Also started writing books around that time. Started talking about mindset a little bit, maybe a year or two after that, maybe about 2010, 2011. Stopped playing pro basketball in 2015. I'd already started writing books. By that point, I probably had 5 or 6 books written. Been full-time as an entrepreneur since 2015, and now we are here where my focus is on, I still talk about mindset, but it's really directed towards the business folks as opposed to being directed towards maybe the basketball players. In a nutshell, that'll tell you where I come from and where I'm at. But let's get into this. I actually did an episode just a few days ago. Let me tell you what episode that was. Any of you who is just now coming into the show, that was episodes, just last week. So episodes 2352, 2353, and 2354 are titled Who I Am and How We Got Here, parts 1, 2, and 3. So I give you my background. For those of you who are, maybe if you just came to this show, you start listening to it like 6 months ago, you don't really know who I am or know my entire story. I didn't tell my whole story. My whole story would probably take hours, many hours of episodes, but I gave you a pretty good background in those 3 episodes. So if you didn't listen to those just from last week, go check those out. Now, I want to talk about the system that I used here. This is not my story, but the system that I used to build my business and brand that I still follow these pieces here today, even though I'm talking to a completely different audience and some of the tools have changed in many different ways. So let's get into it. Point number 1. Topic again, 5-step system I used and still use to build my business and brand. Number 1, free content. Now let me be clear about everything I'm going to share here today is that this 5-step system is not necessarily what everybody needs to do, because not everybody's doing things the same way. Some of you have businesses that are not even they're not even internet based. You might sell things through the internet and people may find you through the internet, but your business may not be based around the internet as mine is. Mine is people initially find me at 999 out of 1,000 people who hear of me through the internet, somehow through the internet, whether it's on somebody's podcast, whether you listen to my show, whether you saw an advertisement that I posted, whether you're following me on social media, something like that, it's through the internet. So understand that this system that I'm going to share here does not mean that you need to go and follow it, but I want you to follow the principles of what I'm doing here, and I'm going to explain what they are, the underlying principles of each point. So this first one is free content. You're consuming some free content from me right now, because this show doesn't cost you any money. You just turn it on and listen to it as much as you want to your heart's content. I started initially, as I said, making basketball related content that was strictly for basketball players, even though anybody could watch it if they wanted to, but it was all about basketball. And I was showing them how to do exactly what they all wanted to do. They were looking for ways to practice basketball by themselves, without a trainer and without any kind of special equipment or no special facilities or anything like that. All they had was a basketball hoop, a basketball, and themselves. They didn't have anything else. Can you practice basketball and get good doing things that way? The answer is yes. This guy, Baldwin on YouTube, is going to show you how to do it. That's how I got started. So I was basically, the reason why I did that is not because I had done some deep market research and knew things that nobody else knew. I was basically scratching my own itch. I was showing basketball players the same stuff that I wish someone had shown me 10 to 15 years earlier, but I didn't have access to YouTube when I was coming up. But since these players did have access to it, I was basically paying it forward to them and showing them what I wish somebody had shown me. So doing this is what built me an audience initially. It got me a name with that audience. It allowed me space to practice and sharpen my message and delivery, because the more I put out material, I would read people's comments, I would see the emails I was getting, I would see how people were responding to me, and that allowed me to kind of fine tune what I was putting out, because I saw what people wanted. I just responded to what people were asking for. So I got lucky by putting something out and realizing, oh, people want this, let me do more of it, and I just responded to what people were asking for, and I just adjusted my approach based on the kind of responses that I was getting. And that's how I started to build the know, like, and trust factor with my audience, with the people who are consuming my materials. Now, I want you to understand the underlying principle of all of this, because many of you are not basketball players, and you're not going to be teaching basketball players how to do dribbling drills and how to dunk the basketball off of 2 feet, or dunk the basketball off 1 foot, or do the Kobe Bryant crossover move. The underlying principle is the following: that you are putting out material that allows people to see the value that you offer, build a know, like, and trust factor with you, so they feel like they know you, they actually like you, and there's some trust built between you and them, even though there has been no exchange. There's been no monetary exchange. And I want you to understand, I still do this to this very day. I mean, what am I doing right now? What did I do yesterday and the day before and the day before? I put out a free episode on this free show that allows you to see the value that I give to, the value that I can give to you. Actually, I'm giving you value, but you can see that I can probably give you even more value. If this is free, imagine what the paid stuff is like. I'm building a know, like, and trust factor. I'm sharpening my message based on how people are responding to the things that I'm putting out. I'm seeing what's working, I'm seeing what's not working, and this is what establishes me as somebody in the minds of the people who are listening consistently. So those of you who've been listening to the show for weeks or months, I'm establishing your mind as somebody. This may not be the only show that you listen to. I may not be the only person on a certain subject that you are willing to take information from, but I'm somebody, right? So if you ran into me at the mall, you would say, hey, I listened to your show. Or you saw me somewhere outside of this show, you might follow me there. You might follow me on Facebook. You might follow me on Instagram. You might follow me on Twitter or whatever. You might get into my text community because you like what I'm saying here on this show. So what I'm doing is building that know, like, and trust, and this is very important, especially in this world where there are so many people out there putting material out. How do you even carve out some real estate in the minds of the people who you want to serve with so many other people trying to do the exact same thing? Well, one way is you can put out free content, because it doesn't cost them anything to consume it, so they can test you out without any, they don't have to make any kind of commitment except with their time and attention. So this matters a lot when we get to step 2. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is the 5-step system that built my business and built my brand that, as side note, parentheses, I'm still using to this very day. Point number 2, make an offer. What is an offer? An offer is you offering people a way to give you money in exchange for something. And an offer doesn't necessarily have to be something that is a big purchase or a big buying decision. It can be a relatively small buying decision, but it should be an offer, period. And I'll explain to you why that is. You basically the principle here is give people an opportunity to give you money. And you want to make this offer you can make this offer relatively quickly to people. Doesn't mean they have to take it, but you should make offers consistently. So any of you who's in my email list, and you get emails from me, and many of you do, you notice that in every email that I send out, I always have something that you can click on and go do, and usually it is some form of an offer. Whether it's schedule a call to talk with me, whether it's go get your free copy of my book, just cover the shipping, whether it's a course that you can get access to for the $297, $149, something like that. I'm making you an offer. Give people an opportunity to make an exchange. Now let's be clear. Remember the title of this episode. We're talking about business. All right, we're talking about building a business here. Business means the exchange. And if you're going to be in business, you cannot be shy about selling. And to not be shy about selling, you can't be shy about asking for the sale, because most people who buy from you are not going to just run up to you waving their money and say, hey, figure out something to give me in exchange for this money. First of all, you got to offer them something in order for them to pull their money out. So how often think about this, how often do you make a purchase as a consumer? If you think about it, you're making purchases damn near every day. So you need to give people an opportunity to give you money by making them an offer to do exactly that. So the way I started out, the first offering that I made of my own stuff, once I had a brand, was $4.99 training programs made for basketball players. So we call this a low ticket offer. I consider a low ticket, by the way, anything under $100 is our low ticket / entry level offer. So this is like the first thing that somebody can buy from you, where it's not a big purchasing decision. They don't have to like plan for months ahead for this. They don't have to have a conversation with their husband or wife before they do it. They can just do it just on their own accord, because although it's a small enough amount of money that is not a big deal, and they're willing to risk it just to see if you're any good. So if you're trash, all they did was they tried you out for $60, $20, $10, $97, or it was trash, I'm not gonna buy from them again. It's fine. They're not gonna lose any sleep over that amount of money. So this is what we call an entry level or low ticket offer. And low ticket could be more than $100, by the way. So that's why I said also entry level offer. So it doesn't take a lot of forward planning or saving up for the person to make a buying decision. I still do this to this very day. What's my low ticket offer now? I still have my basketball training programs, but I don't really advertise them. I don't talk about them much here on this platform, because most of you are not basketball players. Now it's my books. So go get your free copy of my book, The Third Day, which you can see behind me if you're watching on video, or The Mirror of Motivation. Or if you happen to be a basketball player, you want to play pro, we got the Overseas Basketball Blueprint. And since I've written so many books, I offer you bundles of books on top of the one that you just got, because who reads just one book anyway? So this is an easy, quick transaction where people can get more value than what they pay for. They should always get more value than what they pay for. So whatever you're selling, make sure that the value within it is way more than whatever you're asking for. It doesn't matter what you ask for. You ask for $100, make sure the value is like $1,000. If you ask for $10, make sure the value is at least $100. So just make sure you're giving them more than what they pay for. And what this does, once somebody decides to make a buying decision with you, they also get to see how good your material is when it's a step above the free stuff. So they probably got to have some affinity and have gotten some value from the free stuff in order to go into the paid stuff. Usually they do. Usually somebody needs to see something for free before they go buy something that costs money, at least when it comes to if you're on the internet. So, and again, this doesn't have to be a bunch of stuff. This show right here has over 2,300 episodes. You don't have to listen to 1,000 episodes of my show to decide to go get a free copy of my book and just cover the shipping. You might decide to do that just off the advertisement. You didn't listen to my podcast yet, or what I call my masterclass. You didn't listen to it yet, but you'll go get the free copy of the book, because again, if the book is trash, all you did was invest $9 into paying for the shipping for the book, and the book's trash. You're like, all right, well, the book's trash. Well, forget this guy. It was only $9. You're okay with that. You get what I'm saying here? So but you want to make this offer relatively quickly, because while there are some people who might need to consume 6 months of your material before they buy anything, there are other people who are ready to buy something from you right now if you would actually make them an offer. So you need to understand this, and because you're a salesperson, you need to be willing to make an offer to people relatively quickly. Make an offer to the people as soon as they come into your world. Any of you who's getting emails from me, you may remember the first email that I sent you. there's links in there in the very first email that I send you to say, hey, here's some opportunities for you to buy, either buy period or to buy more stuff. If the first email you got from me was because you bought something, well, you already bought. But if the first email you got from me was something that maybe you didn't buy yet, but you just got on my email list, I'm gonna make you an offer to buy something right there on the spot. Why? Because I'm a salesperson. I'm in the business of making exchanges. And you as a consumer are in the business of making exchanges as well. It's just going in the opposite direction. And you probably sell things as well in your life. So you can't be nervous or shy about selling if you consider yourself to be a salesperson. And you're in the business of making money, which you are, by the way, any of you didn't know. So, and also, you gotta know that you also get to see that people are willing to exchange money for what you're offering. You identify the people who are willing to do that, even if it's $1, they're willing to pull out their credit card. That's a big difference between the person who is not willing to pull out their credit card. In other words, there's a big jump between the person who's willing to spend $0 and the person who's willing to spend $1. The biggest jump in business is the jump from $0 to $1. I talked about this in episode 2120. If you did not listen to that, it's linked down below in the show notes. The biggest jump in business is from $0 to $1. Not $1 to 1,000, not $1,000 to 1,000,000. The biggest jump is from 0 to 1. Why is that? Is because 0 is when a person has not made any kind of investment. $1 means they pulled out a credit card. That is a buying decision. To get people to identify themselves as someone who is willing to make a buying decision with you, a positive buying decision, meaning they actually bought, that's a big decision. That jump is where you identify your buyers. And again, a buyer can be somebody who spent $1. A buyer can be somebody who spent $1,000. So there are people in there's a list, and any of you who has an email list, especially if you sell online, we segment our lists. I have a bunch of different segmented lists based on what people have done and how long they've been around and different things. But there's a list of people who are in the buyer's list. The buyer's list is anybody who spent at least $1. So that could be anywhere from $1 to $100,000. But if you spend at least $1, you're in the list with the other buyers. Even if you only spend $1 and somebody else spent 1,000, all y'all are in that group because you spend at least $1, as opposed to a list of people who never spend anything, but they're on the list. Now there are other lists as well, but I'm explaining that just so you understand. This is a big jump in business, is to get somebody to make a buying decision with you, because people have to trust you in order to spend $1 with you. Even $1, they have to trust you because they're putting their information in, and that's sensitive information. And people are very emotional when it comes to money, just generally speaking. So this is a big deal to get them to make that jump. And now that you've identified people who are willing to spend money, now you can make them more offers in the future. And if you are creating valuable content consistently and offering something useful with your low ticket offer, then it can put money in your pocket. Sinus is going crazy today. So if you are creating valuable content consistently and offering something useful with your entry level offer, it can put some money in your pocket, and it can help you possibly with the next steps. Now, I personally, as a side note here, I know some people who have made millions and even hundreds of thousands of dollars from having one single product that costs somewhere between $67 and $97. I'm talking one product, not a suite of products, not 33 books. One product that costs between $67 and $97. They just found out how to make money on that product through a combination of advertising, affiliates. There's often a nice healthy amount of advertising and also a healthy amount of affiliates, and they make all their sales just from that, and they've been able to scale up just off of that. So I want you to understand that there are so many different ways to be successful in business. So what I'm telling you here today is not a one-size-fits-all formula that you absolutely have to follow. What I'm explaining is what I did, but I'm also explaining the principles underneath it, so you understand how you could apply this to your stuff, even if you're not doing it the same way. So personally, between basketball and my other stuff, I've created a whole lot of different things. But I know people who have done it off of just one thing and just kept it as simple as that. So again, I'm making sure I'm giving you all the options so you don't think that what I did is a formula that you absolutely have to follow. Just mine. To point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is the 5-step formula that built my business. Number 3, leverage your status to create and exploit collaborations. What does this mean? The next step after I did these things, so I'm creating content. So now I'm building an audience, and I'm creating content consistently. So my audience continually expanding. and I have an offering, so I can at least make some money from the people in my audience who are willing to spend money and who I can move towards being willing to spend money. Now the next step, because now I have some status, now I got a name, now I have an audience, now people know me. Now the next step is to leverage my status to do collaborations. This means getting outside and getting my name seen, heard, and known by and with other people who are doing the same things that I'm doing. So I started doing collaborations with other people who are creating valuable content for their audiences, and what we would do is cross-pollinate. So I would reach out to someone who has an audience and say, yo, let's do a YouTube video together. And I'd basically interview them and put it on my channel, or we put it on their channel, we do both. And that way their fans got to know who I was and my fans got to know who they were. And the reason they were willing to do this is because I was already known and they were already known. So two known people come together, everybody wins in that situation. So I was leveraging my status, because I reached out to people and I would say, look, I got this many subscribers, I'm doing this. I reached out to my audience and said, who should I talk to? And they mentioned you. So there I'm stroking their ego at the same time. And I did a lot of collaborations. This is mostly in my basketball days that I was doing it this exact way. So I started doing collaborations with other people who were creating valuable content. We would cross-pollinate our audiences. So since I was talking basketball and mindset, I'll reach out to other people who are talking about mindset or fitness or basketball sneakers or even basketball video games. And I did collaborations with all of these people. And these videos are still on YouTube to this very day. So their audiences knew me, my audiences knew them, and we were not competing with each other. We were collaborating. So it's not like they were doing the exact same thing as I was, but even if they were, there's no one way to do basketball drills. So even if I had collaborated with someone who was in that space, it would still work. And I still do this to this very day, by the way. So nowadays, what I do is find people who are talking about topics that are adjacent to mine and complementary. So again, we're not in competition. And again, things like doing business, as I've explained to you several times already here today, there's no one way to do business. So even though I talk about entrepreneurship and doing business and I talk about mindset, there's no one right way to do it. So if somebody else is talking about entrepreneurship and mindset, I can still collaborate with them, because it's not like my way is the only way to do it. And it's not like their way is the only way to do it. We can both talk about our ways and it'd be beneficial for the entire audience, because their audience gets to learn a little bit about my approach and vice versa. So again, we're not in competition. But what I talk about can help their audience, and what they talk about helps mine. And this allows you to get your name out there to more people faster, and you borrow some of the trust that they have already built with their audiences, which means some of the people in those audiences will now come into your audience. There are many of you listening to me now who you heard of me or found out about me because you heard me on somebody else's platform. You heard me on somebody else's show, and then you decided, all right, let me go check this guy out. You like what you were hearing, and now you still listen to that other show that you heard me on, but you listen to mine too. So I just added myself onto the list of people who you know, like, trust, and are willing to listen to. And here's an added bonus. Some of the people in that audience that you collaborate with will be willing to buy from you immediately, because they trust the person who you're standing next to. They already like that person. And if they're your friend, they say, okay, well, if that person trusts you, person X trusts you, then I trust you too, and they'll be willing to buy from you immediately. So collaborations can make you money as well. Not just about building audiences. They can also make you money. It expands your audiences. It legitimizes you as well, because now you're drafting a little bit off the credibility of that other person. So the more of these you can do, the better. Because if you're standing next to someone who already has a bunch of know, like, trust with their audiences, well, some of that is bound to rub off on you, because they're a player in the game just like you are. In other words, you are borrowing the social proof that they have, and some of it becomes your social proof. So this is a great strategic thing to do, and this is something that I still do, absolutely still do a lot of this to this very day. Moving on to point number 4. Today's topic, once again, is the 5-step system that I use to build my business and my brand. Point number 4. So now you have content you're consistently putting out. You have an offering, so that at least one offering, so people can give you money. You can make some money off the fact you're building an audience. You're collaborating. That's another way you can make money aside from just your own material. What's the next thing that you do? I'll tell you what I did and still do. Reinvest into your business. So as you are making money off of your sales or wherever you get your money from, let's say you had a full-time job outside of your business, you have that money. Next thing you need to do is level up and scale your growth. And I said scale your growth, not necessarily scale your business, but you got to scale your growth first so that you are the person who can scale a business. What do I mean by scaling your growth? What I mean is you need to figure out where you can go and who you need to invest with that can make you a more valuable individual so that your material gets better, the people you attract are higher level, you can charge higher prices, and you can make more money so that you can reinvest more into your business. So take the money you're making and you need to figure out where you're going to invest. So reading, implementing what you're learning in books, invest in courses, invest in coaching and programs, go to live and virtual events. Between doing these things, you're going to learn what else you can do with your money, specifically inside of your business. You can hire staff. You can get gig workers to do certain things for you. You can invest in software that can do things on your behalf and other things that can help you do business better and also help you better serve the people who you are serving and help you serve more people than you are serving, all of which will expand your income, give you more tangible resources, and this will help you build your business. So in other words, take the money that you're making and reinvest into your business. When you're building a business, you're always reinvesting your money back into the business. Anybody here who is in the midst of building a business or who has built a business, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. The money that you're making, a lot of it, you're not just laying it, throwing it on the bed and bathing in it. What you're doing is taking that money and you are reinvesting it into the business. Okay, now that I got this, now I can go get this tangible item that I need. Or now that I did that, now I can go to this conference that I want to go to, get that information. Now I can join this program that I want to get in. Now let me go buy this self-learning program that I can take at home. They're going to ship me all the materials. I can take this course, this program, so I can learn how to do this skill. Now I can take this money. Now let me go hire some more staff. Now let me go hire this gig worker who can take care of this piece right here. This is just a one-time job. You're always reinvesting more money into your business with the idea strategically that all these reinvestments are going to make you more valuable, which make your offerings more valuable, which makes the people who you serve willing to invest more of their resources with you, which leads to more money. You can continue to reinvest, but over time that's going to start creating more and more margin to where it's not like every dollar goes back into the business. Some of those dollars can go into your piggy bank, and now you have a more comfortable life and a more comfortable lifestyle because you are reinvesting into your business over and over and over again. Everybody follow what I'm saying here? That's the process of the reinvestment, and that's where the reinvestment comes in. And this is why, again, this is why I keep telling all of you, because I know a lot of you who are listening to the show, you are professionals you are growing, you're building. You're not just content being where you are. I mean, that's why you're listening to a show called Work on Your Game. I mean, who listens to a show with that title if you're not serious about growth? All right, this show is about professional development, personal and professional development. Personal and development means growth. It means expansion. It means rising. It means moving forward. It means ascension. And to do that, you need to reinvest in yourself. You need to take what you're making now, take at least some of it, reinvest into yourself with the idea that reinvesting is going to make you back more than what you're putting in. That's the whole point. That's why you have to choose wisely what you're reinvesting into. So with that said, let's move on to point number 5. Today's topic, again, it's a 5-step system that I use to build my brand and business that I still use to this day. Number 5 is rinse and repeat. That means you're going to keep doing all of these 4 steps over and over again. Or these are what I've done over and over again. Again, those of you who are not in the exact same space, you wouldn't do it the exact same way. But what did I do? Number 1, I continually create free material like this show right here. Specifically this show, as a matter of fact. This show is my number 1. As far as free material, this is my number 1 place that I put out free stuff. So this show, over the last 30 days, let's see. And I found out some people are doing even more than us here at Work on Your Game. But over the last 30 days, the show has done over 259,000 listeners to the Work on Your Game Masterclass. We just short of 260,000. But over the last 12 months, we've done over 2.3 million listens to this show. I'm not telling you that to impress you, but to impress upon you that I continually put out free material that allows new people to come into my world, and they'll pick up wherever they want to pick up, and they can see what I'm about. Because of that, then I can have my offerings to where people who are listening to the stuff and they like the stuff, now they can go to the next step and they can make a buying decision to buy something. Then the next step, I can leverage the fact that I have status and collaborate with other people who have audiences. Then the next step, I take whatever I am making, I can reinvest into my business that will allow me to level up and get to an even higher level and make the stuff that I'm doing even better. And I can offer higher level stuff to higher level people who are willing to invest higher amounts of money, because I am in the business of making money, which you are as well. And then I just do these things over and over again, rinse and repeat. So if you look at what I do, you notice that all this stuff I still do. I just explained it. So a steady stream of free content, make offers, get outside and collaborate, reinvest into my business, and that allows me to grow systematically. So again, you don't have to be doing things the exact same way that I'm doing it, or even in the same formats that I'm doing it, but the process, the strategies, the overall framework, that's the part that I want you to get. And this is why, because I understand the process, the strategies, and the framework, this is why I can work with people who don't even come from the same world as me. Those of you you have a business that's not internet based, you are not a content creator, you're not the face of your business, but I can still help you. You can still work with me, and because you go to workonyourgame.net, you can see some testimonials from people who will tell you exactly this, and they're not doing the same thing that I'm doing. Most of the people who I coach are not brand builders, influencers, content creators. They're not doing anything like what I'm doing, but I've helped them a lot because I understand strategy. I understand breaking things down. I can explain things. I can break things down to simple forms and reverse engineer the outcomes that people need to achieve. That's my skill. That's my gift. That's what I do. I just happen to do it through this show to show you as a demonstration, but I can do this for people in any different types of businesses. And if you look at the type of people who I've worked with, that's proof. There's proof positive that that's true. So with that said, let's recap today's class. There's a 5-step system that I use to build my brand and business. I just went over it, but I'll say it again. Number 1, free content, steady stream of free material that allows people to sample your work. Number 2, make an offer. Give people an opportunity to give you money. This can be an entry-level product somewhere under $100, but it can be more than that if you want, depending on who your audience is. But give them a way to give you money. Some people are ready to buy from you immediately, but you have to make them an offer. They're not going to just come run and hand you money without you making an offer. Number 3, leverage your status to collaborate. Next step is getting outside, getting yourself seen, heard, and known by other people who are moving in the industry or in your world the same way that you are, and you each get to borrow the know, like, trust factor from each other. You build social proof, and it helps expand your mind, audience, and it helps expand their mind and their audience, and the audiences benefit from both sides. And number 4, reinvest into your business. Now that you're making some money, next thing to do is to scale your personal growth, professional and personal growth first, then you scale the business. You scale yourself first, then you scale the business. Everybody got that? So take the money that you're making, reinvest into yourself. Learn more, get more information, get more insights, learn how to do things. Then you can add staff, you can add people, you can hire gig workers, and then eventually you're making enough margin that you can take some of that money and put it aside into your piggy banks, investments, and all the other things that you have going on. And then you just rinse and repeat. Do this thing over and over again. That's point number 5. All that said, text me to get my daily motivation for free every day to your phone. My number is 305-384-6894. And go to workonyourgame.net. Those of you business people who are serious about increasing your income and revenue in business, and you want to do it in a systematic, strategic way like I just laid out here today, I will help you do that. Go to workonyourgame.net. Training is completely free. Set aside 45 minutes. Work on your game. Dre all day.